it's not okay to overrepresent superficiality. We cannot build a house from the top down. We have to go to the foundation and assess that is good first. There's no foundation here. We are obsessed with people. Okay? The governments are the most racist of all. If my neighbor is racist, if my neighbor has some kind of hatred against my pigment or whatever, it hurts, but not as much as when you look at the judge in the court that is only there to terrorize the black person and throw it at them. When you look at it in schools, where the teacher is there to undermine the black kids and send them to destruction. Okay? When you look at the institutions that represent government that only wallow in white privilege, have no merit for the picture that they hold, and resorts to hatred and wickedness as opposed to service. That is where the problem lies. That is the media, of course, the media, please. And as far as media goes, do not twist what I'm saying now by saying black lives don't matter. I'm making the point that we should matter, but we don't as per the evidence. Okay? Just to wrap up. Okay? I do not want to be a part of Ontario. The litmus test is the native people of this country. I do not want to be a part of an Ontario that treats First Nations people so deplorably, perennially, pretending that they're going to help us. You do not help them enough. You have them under oppression as we speak, and that is proof that you're not capable or willing or genuine about helping us. We know what this abuse is. We're not asking for privilege and attention and special treatment. If you take away the hatred that lives in the heart of the people that are supposed to provide service to us equally, then the color of our skin will not matter. Okay? It will not matter. So, the root is harboring hatred in one's heart for people based on fallacy. That is what the problem is. And so let's use through such lenses, and this is what brings forth the oppression that is. I don't want to be special because you're trying to make me other. I want to be regular, okay? Please, respect that.
I'd like to thank everybody for being here, especially the mayor for being here today. There are many different types of people here, but I'd specifically like to address my immediate two communities, and I'd like to represent two, the Black and Islamic community in Ontario. I'm not Muslim myself, but my husband is, and I see the persecution that they go through. But Fairbanks Black Lives Matter and Islamic lives is many things, but the biggest solutions are what I'd like to keep short and sweet. We need to be encouraging one another to learn about our communities and what we can start, specifically businesses, that can help us strive forward spiritually, financially, intellectually, and physically. And for those of us that choose to stick to our employment as opposed to starting our own businesses, please take charge of your dollars. Please buy with the statement in mind that not only Black lives matter, but Black money matters, and Black education matters as well. Because without it, we cannot survive as a people. And finally, please do not let conversations about these solutions stop here, but have them with your families, and avoid statements like we are all crabs in a barrel or in a bucket, because I've heard that many times from elder folk, I'm only 23. And also, regardless of what happens in the media, please stand together.
My name is Andre. I run an organization called Textile that teaches tech skills to youth of color. I'm going to give two solutions. Let me know, or I'll start with the first, let me know if you want to do it second. In Urbandale, California, police officers were put on what was called a performance improvement plan, where a third-party organization had to come in and teach them de-escalation training, had to teach them ethics, had to give them anti-racism training. In Neota, Tennessee, 2 officers who beat a man at a traffic stop were fired from the force quickly. And the reason that happened? Insurance. I wrote about this in Maclean's magazine. In Toronto, we paid, since the year 2000, we paid $27 million in terms of court fees and settlements. My friend Orlando Bowman was beaten by field police, and he settled for multiple millions of dollars. And that came out of the taxpayers' pockets. So what does that mean? That means if I get stopped on my way home tonight and a police officer shoots me, not only did I pay for the uniform on his back and the gun on his waist, I paid for the bullet that he put in my body. I'll pay for that bullet to be taken out. And if my black ass happens to live and I sue, then the money that's given to me as compensation is actually a refund. That's wrong. In Toronto, I work in the insurance industry, so we have this concept called indemnity. We indemnify our police officers. We are basically their backstop. Their insurance is the city treasury. So when the Toronto police beat Mutaz El-Mardi on the street, and they were sued, and El-Mardi won, we paid for that. So my suggestion is, given that doctors and lawyers and people working in the financial industry like myself, plumbers, engineers, they all have liability insurance, and they also have malpractice insurance. A police officer can watch an investigation, can beat a suspect, and face no accountability whatsoever because we're paying for that. I think that police officers should be paying for their own malpractice. You want to listen to number 2? Number 2, in the tech industry, in the United States, because the part of the CAN 2020 strategy is this innovation policy where we're going to build this tech corridor between Toronto and Waterloo. It's going to be amazing. Silicon Valley North. Anybody identify a problem with Silicon Valley right now? In Silicon Valley, 2% of the workforce is black. 2. If somebody quits in Silicon Valley, they just drop that percentage. So, is that what we want to replicate right here in Toronto? I've taken money out of my own pocket. I've gone and passed that hat around to fund a program. As a matter of fact, I drove here from Redfield tonight because we're teaching kids coding and how to make video games. We teach them web development. We're opening a blog. We're going to teach them visual media as well, and we're doing that completely out of pocket. My question is, why is it that I had to do that? Why is it that we don't have coders working in our classroom teaching young people? Very good story. I mentored a young man when I mentored people at the home shelter called East Six. And Ben, when I met him, was 17 years old, didn't have a high school education. He's now working in DC, no high school education, making $150,000 a year as a software engineer because he taught himself moving on it. Why can't we have that sort of strategy to know how you? I want to take up any time. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
My name is Kathleen Cole. Black lives? Black lives? Black lives? People ask me why I always defend Black Lives Matter, and it's because they're always defending me. So I just want to say 2 things really quick. The first is a question for Mayor Tory. Mayor Tory, I think you know, and I think if you didn't know before tonight, you've heard that a lot of people in our community are upset with you, particularly. And we're upset because of a lot of things that I'm not going to get into, but for me, the fact that you didn't come when people held space outside of the cold for 15 days, it hurt. It hurt because of the position that you've been given in the city. And people who know me know that when I get a microphone in my hand, I don't like to let go of it. But I will, right now, if you will come up here and just acknowledge to us that you should have been there, that you should have been there for our community. Can you do that?
Groups that are protesting or groups that are grieving or other things. And now sit down with, and I also want to acknowledge that Black Lives Matter has performed a very useful service to people like me and many others in putting issues on the table. And now it's time to do what the Premier has started to do tonight with this meeting that I was happy to attend upon her invitation, is to sit down and make a difference on the things we've heard about tonight.
I'm so angry about so many things, but I don't want to only be angry. I want to have some feeling. You know? Anyway, thank you. The second other thing I wanted to say is that, you know, because I get to have a microphone in my hand a lot of the time, I try to remember that there are people who don't have this opportunity. Somebody mentioned second-class citizens this evening, and I want to talk about people who are not citizens at all. And Premier Wynne, there are people in our provincial jails who aren't citizens of this country, and they are not there because they're waiting to go to trial. They're not there because they're serving part of the sentence. They're there on an immigration hold. Because Canadian Border Service Agency picks them up and they put them in our provincial jail. And I'm asking you tonight, send a message to the Prime Minister of this country and tell him that you are not going to house any more immigration detainees in an Ontario jail. I know that you don't have the power to stop Canadian Border Service Agency from doing their job. They have their federal mandate, and I know you can't do anything about that. But you can send a message to the Prime Minister that we're not going to house any more immigration detainees. There's a woman named Glory. Her child, Alpha, was born inside the detention center. A friend of mine just got out of jail 8 months. 8 months on an immigration issue, not because of any crime that he's committed, and it changed his life forever. Stop doing this to us because it's black people, especially people of color who are in these situations of immigration detention that messes their life forever. I'm begging you, please stop this now. You have the ability to do that and send a message. Thank you.
And then we will have some comments, some summarized comments before we go, okay?
Well, what can I say? I want to say thank you to Premier Wynne, Mayor Tory, Honourable Ministers, and the dedicated public servants around you for listening to the tip of the iceberg that is bubbling up in the black community. My name is Keith Zagillian. I am Director of Communications of Black Action Defense Committee. I'm also Director of Health for the Jamaica Diaspora Canada Foundation. And I must tell you that I'm also a former public servant in the Ontario Public Service. And therefore, what I'm going to say, we have heard a lot tonight, but the roles that I have played in the Ontario Public Service included human rights officer which investigated all kinds of human rights complaints throughout the government, up to and including the Legislative Assembly of Ontario. And I can tell you that there are no dollars that a ministry, the deputy minister, will not spend to defend his ministry against an allegation, a complaint of a human rights complaint, because it is doing business. It's Her Majesty in the right of Ontario. And let me tell you a couple of things. I also was involved with the training of Ontario public servants in the social justice agenda of the great government. which included the Workplace Harassment and Discrimination Prevention Program, which Aswell spoke about. As a matter of fact, I was one of the first batch of people trained under the original program. The program you have now is not what existed at that time. So, what I'm trying to say to you at this time, the Black Action Defense Committee has been around since 1988, trying to bring about change in these areas. Today, many of us are getting old. This is my 48th year of advocacy on human rights and other issues across this great country of ours. Well, we have made some progress and we have slipped. However, I'm here to say that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And the first step was for these officials to be here tonight to sit through all that has been said. The next step is action. We know that we need action. And I can tell you, as a public servant that has developed programs and policies and this type of thing, I can tell you that we can develop some, then not to work or to work. If you are serious about getting the Anti-Racism Directorate, developed as an effective instrument to help eliminate racism, you've got to put your money where your mouth is. You've got to fund it to do that. You also have to give it a mandate to vet out racism at the highest levels within your cabinet office, in the minister's office. I worked in the office and I had a director and I had a supervisor who had a Confederate flag on his desk throughout his career, and he probably still have it there as a deputy minister today. So I can tell you this, friend, that if you are serious about change, you have the people, the resources, those of us in the trenches advocating, we are advocating for change. We are not just rebel rousers. We have the technical expertise, we have the inside knowledge, and I have with me, we have access to the knowledge base from across Canada to help you bring about that change. And so we will be willing partners. I am willing and available, and I have technical resources that I can mobilize to assist in whatever way is necessary. But the job must be done.
Okay, so thank you all so much for your incredible submissions. Premier, mayor, ministers, for sticking it out and listening, because that's what you came
So you'll have a chance to review it. Let me get a shot of you while you're at it too, yeah. Yeah, so you're in the picture. Yeah, yeah.
So for those who are fortunate, they'll be able to accommodate. There'll be a meeting in Scarborough, there'll be a meeting in Mississauga, there'll be other meetings that you can attend. So please take the time to do that. And so at this point, I would like to call on, who am I calling on? The Premier to just make a closing remark because she does have to go.
Thank you for staying. Thank you for all that you have said. I just want, there was an urgent issue around Caravana. There was a question that was asked of us, and I'm not exactly sure what the issues are. What I know is that our government continues to fund and will continue to fund paramedics. I don't know if that, I just said, I don't know if that was the question, but what I would like to do is sit down with the person who asked that question, whereas there is right there. So if you can outline to us with our ministers and with the mayor exactly what the issue is, not at this second, but just wait okay? Some people have come up to, I've taken a lot of notes, I've taken notes, some people have come up to me with specific information about their cases with their phone numbers on it. Because I don't want people to leave the room with an unrealistic expectation. So I want you to know what I am going to do is I'm going to make sure that someone gets those numbers and calls. It probably won't be me. If I can, I will. But I've got a lot of notes that people have given me, and we will do our best to follow up on all of those very specific issues. Okay? And the last thing I will just say is that we have begun. This is the beginning of a very important conversation that is a continuation of a very long conversation. So thank you very, very much. The next step is action. We know that. We will get there, and I appreciate so much your work.
Thank you. So I'd like to call Regent Park to just wrap up this meeting. His ministry is responsible for tonight.
Well, let's give